We're coming in hot with inspiring guests, witty banter, and colorful commentary for today's veterans and military community. This is the Tango Alpha Lima podcast.
They call me crazy cause I'm facing all my giants. They try to scare me into thinking I can fight it. They tell me I should never even think of trying. But that's just me, I'm gonna live out in defiance.
And welcome back. We made it another week. We have not been canceled yet. So you're back here for the Tango Alpha Lima experience. I'm Jeff Daly, and you are...
Oh, hi, I'm Ashley Gorbolja.
Ashley Marie.
I'm Ashley Marie Gorbolja.
You've really been slacking on the Marie lately. Okay, so
sorry.
We're a couple weeks from convention. A little geeked.
Yay! So excited. I get to see all my family.
We are family.
Family.
Yeah.
I've got
We probably can't play that song. Licensing issues. Licensing issues.
Not today. I don't want Mark CV to tell us that we didn't buy that.
I had no part in that, ladies and gentlemen. So just
he wouldn't
quick
sing
reminder,
it, obviously, but I would enjoy it if he did.
Just quick reminder to get the app so that you know what's going down. Also, you probably by this time have seen I'm writing an article about networking using the Hi Hello app instead of just putting people in your contacts and things like that. So if you want to interact with people, Hi Hello on the Android and that other store Apple. So you can they're both Apple, and what, you poofing your hair.
I am.
If
my
you're
hair
not
looks adorable. I love my new hair.
If you're not watching
trying to do different things.
If you're not watching on the YouTubes, you're missing it.
Yeah. I'm doing like a 1920s kind of flair, bringing it back.
That's weird. It's weird. It's
looking
weird.
Extra gorgeous these days. Very happy, very content.
She is looking, just ask her. She'll tell you. Okay,
Fabulous.
Let's get right into topic number one. In this topic, by the way, we did talk about, I was told in a rapid fire recently, but now we are elevating it to main topic status because it's that important. Ashley, what am I talking about?
All right. So you're talking about 9/11 Day by AmeriCorps. So it's been more than 20 years since 9/11. We continue to honor the sacrifices made that day by remembering the heroes, armed forces, first responders, and countless others acts of service to defend our nation's freedom. On September 11th, National Day of Service and Remembrance, we invite you to cross divides, differences, and ideologies to come together in service to honor those lost and those whose lives were forever changed that fateful day. Lift each other up, neighborhood by neighborhood, just as Americans did more than 20 years ago, united to serve. You can help us spark a passion and create relationships between communities and individuals that extend past this day to inspire a lifetime of service in all Americans. The 9/11 Day of Service is Sunday, September 11th. You and your partners are encouraged to engage in service on this day and the days surrounding. So, September is upon us.
It
right?
is. I
Wake me up when
love
September
this.
ends.
I love this, and I love it for the American Legion. I love it for the opportunity for our posts to get out there in communities and lead with service to community, state, and nation. I think it's super important that we do lead, because I heard during the 9/11 series, which I hope people will revisit this year, or if you didn't see it last year, if you're one of the new alphas out there, and hopefully we pick up more and more every day. If you're one of those and you didn't see the 9/11 series, those are gripping stories, because 9/11 was one of the worst days in our country's history. But as someone pointed out on that series, 9/12 was one of the more heartwarming days in the way that we displayed a nationwide resiliency and put aside political differences, put aside ideological differences, put aside Michigan, Ohio State differences, and we came together and served together. I would have served that day next to a Buckeye all damn day, and listened to them tell me how, call me that team up north, TTUN, whatever they say, and because it was that kind of experience, and I want us to replicate that. And seriously, and I mean this, American Legion posts, contact people to volunteer on September 11th. And I've asked for things before, but I'm being completely serious about this. This to me is important to the psyche of our nation, and I don't think I'm being hyperbolic. I think that this is a great opportunity to define what we do as a Legion, and I can't overstate it. And Holly will probably kill me, but I'm probably going to bring it up again before September 11th happens, because it's that important. So get out there. And I think, and I provided some resources. If you don't know if you don't have a park next to you that you can clean up after, if you don't have a school that you can, I don't know, water the lawn at the baseball field, I don't care what you do, but get out there and tell your story. Please let the media know what you're doing so you can inspire others to do the same. That's how we lead in this. And I don't feel very strongly about this at all. So I'm going to be quiet now.
Not at all. Not at all. Actually, it was a bit, low enthusiasm for me today.
I know.
Yeah.
I'm going to try to perk up a little bit as we get into this show. Ashley, I'm hoping you will convince the entire, you taught me this today, DMV area. See, I could be a native,
bud. I'm so proud of you, bud. Get after it. I love it. I love this for you. You're learning. Yeah. You're a learning doctor.
So I hope that you inspire some people there, because I'm counting on you. I'm not even going to think about the DMV area because I know Ashley's on it. Is that a good assumption on my part?
That would, and should be. Can I introduce our guest today? Switch it up.
Sure.
Yeah. Okay.
But if you ask right online, I'm gonna say, don't do it to me again like this. But if you ask me online, how am I gonna go? Nah, son. Or people don't say nah, daughter, because it sounds weird. So nah, son, sit down. But go ahead.
All right. So now that we've unpacked all of Jeff's passion and vigor regarding
you haven't done that. It's a family show.
It's a family show. Well, we'll roll right into family show content, which today we are going to be joined by retired Lieutenant Colonel Joseph Barnard, who served in the Army with the 82nd Airborne, then moved to the Air Force, where he served 28 years. That's right, 28 years. First as a PJ, and then a combat rescue officer. Today, Barnard lives in Charlotte and is the COO of the Independence Fund, an organization committed to serving the warfighter community by providing innovative programs and services to support the physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual independence of service members, combat veterans, their caregivers, families, and those allies who served in combat alongside our troops. So we will be right back with Joseph Barnard right after this break.
Raising money for your American Legion programs has never been so easy. Terry Lynn Fundraising offers customized fundraising programs, dedicated support, discounts and incentives, and premium products for your members to sell. We're talking delicious nuts, confections, and snack mixes that will keep your supporters coming back for more. You can see how simple and effective Terry Lynn can be to use for your next fundraiser when you request a free tasting sample at terrylynn.com/AL. Check it out and get ready to have the most successful fundraiser yet. Visit terrylynn.com/AL.
And welcome back. As promised, we have Joseph. We're going to call him Joe today because we're that friendly now. And welcome to the Tango Alpha Lima experience. And how are you feeling? Are you excited? Are you nervous? What's going on?
Yeah, no, I don't get too nervous about anything. So I'm excited, and it's humbling to be asked to be on with you guys and share my story. And I look forward to speaking with you.
No. We're the ones honored here to share your story and your good works, sir. And we're just gonna jump right into that. We did too many niceties before. They don't get to hear that. They don't get the BTS, the behind the scenes. So we're going to jump in. Ashley's going to kick it off, and I hope she's going to be nice today.
Always nice, Jeff. Come on now. I'm going to proceed. So Joe, welcome. I first of all just want to say thank you for all your work that you're doing with the Independence Fund, but I want to backtrack a bit. I want to understand Joe Barnard, the Joe experience, right? I want to know a little bit more about your military career and how your military career has shaped you up to this point.
Yeah, well, I went in the Army when I was 17. You know, my parents had to sign for me, and I was in the 82nd for a little bit and then got out and was a lifeguard. I grew up in South Florida. And then I found pararescue, and I started that journey in 88 all the way to 2016. So was enlisted for like 13 and a half years and got commissioned as a combat rescue officer, and had the pleasure to serve a long time, you know, post 9/11 and do a bunch of amazing things, a bunch of deployments. So it was a great job. It was great for me. I was dyslexic as a kid, but I wasn't scared to jump off anything. So sort of being that adventure type guy, X Games type guy. And, you know, pararescue is definitely one of those jobs where you get to do all sorts of cool stuff. So it was an awesome career for us, our family.
It sounds wonderful. As a fellow dyslexic person, I can understand that need for speed and adventure and just kind of going head first all the time. So I can see why that's incredibly exciting.
I hope he didn't go head first.
Well,
I did a couple times. I think I had 20 concussions when I was in. So
what?
Yeah. You fall off a lot of stuff. Even though they give you good helmets, you fall off a lot of stuff and hit your head. So
you seem to be doing well.
They're done that.
Yeah. Yep. Doing okay.
Okay. So you make its transition. You're doing this. You said you got out in 2016?
Yeah, I retired in 2016.
Okay. So you retired in 2016. Let's talk about that transition. I know Jeff's got a question for you.
Yeah, sure. So, you know, I don't think the transition is easy for anybody. I really don't. You lose your tribe. You know, I was ready to go. You know, the family was ready to go. It was a long career. It was an eventful career, especially being a pararescueman and all the stuff we were doing in combat rescue. But, you know, we took some time, like, you know, thankfully we were really good with our money. So we lived within our means. And so my retirement check, we could live off that. And so after my youngest son, we have two boys, Connor and Zach, they're 26 and 23 now. But when Zach was still in the house with us our last year, we dropped him off at college, and Megan and I traveled Southeast Asia and just went around and sort of regrouped and did yoga. She's a yoga instructor and a mindfulness coach and a nutritional coach. And so we're like, yeah, we really just sort of need to connect and do all that. And so that was a blessing. It's interesting, you know, like even though they're going to pay you a pension, you're like, is this pension going to come? Like, I don't know if this check's going to come or whatever. So that took me a little bit to like see that check come in and sort of be stable with that. And then the transition's like, okay, I'm too young not to work. You know, I don't need to work. I want to work. You got to be around people. You got to continue on. You can't be, you know, I'd rather be more of an extrovert and help and serve. And so the initial job I got after I transitioned was helping a wireless construction company sort of clean up their operations. They were going through like an internal merger and acquisition. A minority shareholder wanted to buy out the majority owner. And so I helped them with that a couple of years. Great people. Still friends with them to this day. But I was missing a sense of service. I was like, so I just go, hey guys, we got this cleaned up the way you guys wanted. It's on the right path. You know, I'm going back to retirement, and I'm a skydiver, surfer, and you know, I like doing outdoor stuff. So I like going to Costa Rica. We were stationed in Hawaii a couple of times. That's where I did my surfing and grew up in Florida. And then, being a pararescue man, I was an air ops guy. And so I've always civilian skydived. So, sort of did that. And then a headhunting firm called Talent War Group reached out to me and they go, "Hey, we got this residential treatment center for troubled teen boys that they need an executive director. Do you want to, check it out?" So I was like, ooh, this is, the beautiful thing about being in the military, as long as I was, you get to mentor and groom people and help them out. And, it is a really moral, ethical job to try to go rescue somebody and save their life. So you're sort of living life the right way, or should be living life the right way. And so it was a great thing to do. So to be able to go help troubled kids, I was like, man, that was great. So did that for a couple of years and turned that over to the clinical director. I got it to where it needed to be. Not that I got bored or anything, but great company, but it was time to move on, and sort of went back to retirement. And at that time we were in Chattanooga, and the same headhunting firm reached out to me to go, "Hey, there's a fund that needs help with operations." And so the Independence Fund is, I really encourage everybody to check out our website, independencefund.org. Sarah Verrado, our CEO, she is a caregiver to a poly-injured 82nd Airborne spouse who has multiple injuries, significant TBI, significant amputations, needs around-the-clock caregiving. And she took over the Independence Fund a while back, and it's just amazing what we do as far as casework and caregiver retreats, and track chairs is a big thing that we give out so the guys can be mobile. Independence is that's where the independence comes from, so they can be independent and out doing stuff. So we have tons of retreats that we do. And so I just started here a month ago, helping them with their operations and taking it to the next level.
That's exciting. I know super producer Holly went through your LinkedIn profile. We're going to get back to Independence Fund in a minute. We aren't supposed to be there yet. I was supposed to ask you about that.
I apologize. I was random.
Now I'm dependent.
Yeah.
So in your and transitions. So we're gonna go back to transition.
Okay.
She stalked your LinkedIn your profile. I didn't do it. Just if you get any weird comments, it's not me. She pulled the quote, "I love sharing my military transition mistakes and successes with new veterans entering the private sector."
Yeah.
So I guess we already heard about your transition. How do you go about sharing these mistakes and successes with the veterans? And go ahead and share some with us now. We're sitting here.
Yeah. So, I appreciate that. I think you could chase jobs that aren't for you. Like, the world's your oyster once you get out. Air Force told me where I was going, when we were going. We get that 2-year itch around the PCS cycle. Coming here to Charlotte, we're on our 23rd move as a married couple after 30 years. So it's just, the military sort of tells you where to go. So when we got out, it's like, what am I going to do? I mean, I know I have value. I know all the leadership skills and the perseverance skills and just sort of, stem of what we dealt with in the military that will transition. But will civilians recognize that? I mean, I've never had to apply for a job, right, in my whole adult life. So that was interesting, sort of like doing cover letters and resumes and trying to beat the screening of the computer to try to talk to a person and try to get an interview. And I didn't network as good as I should have on the front end. So, what I advise guys and girls now is network 2 or 3 years before you get out. And it's really about, when civilians post a job, they know who they want to hire already. So you're an outsider coming in. They may look at you as an outside course of action that they may bring in, but they sort of know who they want to apply or hire. So if you network, and LinkedIn is the best tool. LinkedIn, you got to have a vibrant LinkedIn page and just build it and always keep evolving it. But through your friend network, through people that have gotten out before, what geography you want to live in, what industry you think you're going for, what company inside that industry, that's who you sort of got to target. And if you have a specific ask a specific ask. I think I could do this job at this company. Can I talk to you? if you don't have a specific ask, then you should go, hey, I would just like to have coffee or lunch with you and learn how you like the job, the culture of it. What do you think are the pros and cons? And people will respond to you and help you out. If you sort of go in and go, man, I just want to lead teams and do good, they're like, well, what can I do with that? I don't know what to do with that inside my specific company. And so there's a lot of people that want to help, but you got to get your ask too specific. So that's something I didn't do initially on the front end. But I was also lucky. I didn't have any financial pressure. So a lot of the people I advise, they're like, man, we want your life. We want to skydive and surf and travel. We see you on Instagram with your wife doing yoga and all that. And I'm like, okay, what's your situation? Well, I got 3 young kids and I'm getting out after 14 years. And I'm like, okay, dude, like you can definitely get to where I'm at, but I have a pension I'm falling back on and my kids are out of the house. So, I mean, this is sort of how I got there and what we did to sort of, dot the I's and cross the T's to evolve. So every individual sort of transition is specific, but there's definitely some lessons learned out there that people can learn from. And I think an amazing second life, epic second life is out there. I'm as happy being a civilian with my long hair and the kids out of the house and us helping, we're on our 3rd company that we're helping. That's as good as being a pararescueman. Back then when I was a pararescue, I mean, that was great when I was in my 20s, 30s, 40s, but now that I'm in my mid to late 50s, it's like, man, this is awesome, the stuff we get to do. So,
You're still flying through the air. Now you just have more.
That's it.
Wavy hair
hang
behind
out
you.
the back of my helmet. It's cool.
Before we move on to the Independence Fund, this is something I ask everybody who did a long career, because I'm a 1 enlistment person. It's completely different. Completely different. My transition was like, boom. The simple things like you now have to pick out your own clothes every day, decide what to wear. You now have to, you were married, so you already were preparing your own meals and stuff like that. What the simple things of life, were those an issue for you?
No,
I mean, you did get dressed today and you didn't put on a uniform, so
yeah, no, I mean, it's definitely an investment. If you don't have clothes, it's definitely an investment. So that's something financially, monetarily, you got to think about. I think, we're a pretty hip couple, sort of, we had civilian friends. My brother, who I'm really close with, he was an executive with Chevron for 30 years. So I understood, we talked all the time about how military risk management and sort of efficiencies with logistics and all that, how does oil and gas sort of benefit from those? I have my best friend in the world who I went to high school with. He was an executive with Office Depot and their logistics side and sort of the computer side. So we talked about sort of the differences or the same, what's the like in corporate America for him and the same with the military. So, we sort of interacted and kept interacting with people that were on the civilian side. You definitely should do that. Let me see. I would think, the biggest thing for me was I didn't want to fill out USA jobs, right? An application. I mean, I saw the government for 33 years, and while there's awesome thing that goes on there, there's some pretty jacked up things that goes on in there. So I didn't want to do USA jobs. And so then I'm like, man, I don't want to fill out 57 cover letters and, 3 different resumes or 4 different resumes to try to beat the algorithm to sort of get in front of a human. So I'm like, okay, I just developed a networking plan. And really the networking has to have, so then you got to pick your geography. Really, if you're going to go to lunch or coffee like this, it would be better if we were in person, right? Sitting around a table doing this. Virtual presence is actual absence. We would sort of feel it coming off each other's chest and all that. While this is awesome that we get to do this stuff 2-dimensional on video, it's really not how you network and try to get a job. And so geography, I think, is the number one importance. You got to be in that area. You got to feel the town, feel the traffic flow, sort of see the commerce. see where the restaurants are at, go meet people. And, so that's a big decision, I think, for people transitioning. It's like, is it about kids in school? Is it about family members? Is it about what the wife or the spouse, the husband wants, whoever the military spouse is? So those are really super important decisions. And as soon as you pick a geography, what the world will send you is a inopportune somewhere else that you don't want to live. And because it's like good money and a good culture, you're like, you're going to consider it. And all that is a distractor. And you got to stick true to your plan. Like, nope, this is my geography. This is my industry. This is the company I want to do. This is how I want to do it. So I see a lot of folks getting distracted and sort of chasing stuff. Or people do USA jobs and they take a GS job and they know, and they're just back to miserable, but now they're not wearing a uniform. And then they're like 2 years behind their process because, man, no, I want to be a civilian and I should have never filled out USA jobs. And I'm 2 years down the road, in the negative versus trying to work a civilian gig. If I just started that from the get-go. So
Nice.
It's, the struggle's real. The struggle's real for everybody. And you just got to have grace for yourself. And people like me need to pay it back. There's hundreds of us, if not thousands of us out there, that if you reach out to us on LinkedIn, we will help you out. We will talk through your process, not what we think you should do. So I just enjoy doing that.
I think you said
Awesome.
some really valuable things. And sometimes, what's that turn of phrase? It's about who you know, but I argue that it's about who knows you, right? From that networking perspective. So if you are at the geography of your choice, it's really about focusing in on those decisions and making smart goals that are in the best interest of you, your family, and your career aspirations, or whatever those priorities are. I just think it's incredibly important to have both a presence on LinkedIn. I see the value. I can tell you firsthand, even from my own transition experience, that became very, very valuable tool. And to your credit, Joe, like that's what has to happen for a lot of service members, and to take it seriously and to be mindful and plan accordingly. So you said some really good pearls of wisdom for our alphas out there who are listening, who may know someone in that transition, who may be going through that transition, or have, like yourself, plenty of trial and error to share. So
yeah, I used American Corporate Partners. I used the Commit Foundation. The Honor Foundation wasn't around when I retired, but they're a good one. Elite Me, Special Operations Transition Foundation. All these organizations are out there, and they've got networks, and they'll sort of, like, I didn't want to wear a tie. I didn't really want to be clean cut. I wanted to grow my hair out. And, I was coiffed for 33 years. I think you guys a contrast picture of me in uniform versus sort of how I look now. And, all that was great, but, I don't want to wear a tie. This is as dressy as I want to dress when I go to work. I'm an operator. I want to do teams. I really don't want to be in sales. I don't want to look at spreadsheets as a banker, even though I'm good running a profit and loss statement as an operator. So there's if it's really about knowing yourself and how there's absolutely who you are and what your skills are. There's a civilian company that needs you. So there's civilians are lacking leadership, bar none, big time. They don't communicate. They don't plan. They execute, and then they don't debrief, and they wonder why the next execution goes all wanky. It's amazing that civilians don't plan, brief, execute, and debrief. They're just, it's boggling to me.
Project management 101.
Yeah.
So we manage people and property for a majority of our careers.
And then they think the STEM gap that military members have is greater than what it actually is. Like, we've dealt with software, we've dealt with communication, I've dealt with medical procedures significantly, I've dealt with parachutes, I've dealt with atmospherics, I've dealt with ballistics, I've dealt with across the whole STEM cycle. So then you get in there like, oh man, you sort of can you can understand this. What I think the biggest thing military members are lacking is capitalism understanding. You have got to have a story in your elevator pitch to where you had a fixed budget and you made more readiness with that fixed budget. And that's profit. And they're going to go, oh man, you understand profit. But if you don't understand accounts payable and accounts receivable and all that, like, the big hit on DOD is, and you get a budget and you have to spend it all in order to get more budget. That's not the way the civilian world works at all. You got to have more coming in than it's going out. And so you really have to have a value to the company of what you're going to bring in. Like you got to be on the plus side of the financial column. It's a wicked, wicked tool, money, and you better understand how to use it. And so that's the unique thing about the military, right? Like you meet senior airmen, like, or E4s, right, for any service, who have $1 million in the bank. They're good with their money. I've met 06s on 3 divorces, and they're terrible with their money. So like somebody in the military sort of giving you advice on this is what you should do with your money, or this, you're like, dude, I sort of seen your lifestyle. I'm not sort of in agreement with that. So it's really for the individual to, man, you really got to have your finances together. You got to have your emotional, your EQ under control. Civilians really don't like anger. Like, where I come from, the team rooms can get angry and sort of aggressive and sarcastic. You have got to tone that stuff way down for the civilian world. If you think you could just transition into civilian, like a team room mentality, it's, that you're setting yourself up for disaster.
Well, before we get back to Independence Fund, I want to point out that you're not the Air Force we make fun of every day, by the way. Yeah. Sounds like you're a PJ, right?
Yeah. And it's interesting being a backpack wearer in a force that 98% of people carry a briefcase.
Right.
And they're very risk adverse. But we just proudly, calmly, deliberately, chin up, chest out, eyes dilated, told them we were wrong. I mean, we were outside the wire guys, and the guys are amazing. And there's very few, really the 2 special operations career fields in the Air Force are combat control and pararescue. And, there's less than 1,000 combined of those guys.
Wow.
So, the ops tempo is really high. It's very hard to get through. It's a very difficult school and pipeline. It's a very difficult job once you're in. There's a lot of time away. And so, yeah, I mean, people can make fun of the Air Force all they want. We're like, I get it. You sort of get it, because I've definitely been on bases where you're watching people do PT and you're like, man, this is embarrassing, so, but yeah. that wasn't us where we came from.
I get you. I have to hear it about crayons and not being able to read. I choose not to read. There you go. Okay. So we're being a PJ kind of transitions us to, and I use transition, where it's all coming together here today. This Independence Fund of yours, which is a great name. If you put independence, freedom, liberty in anything, it sounds amazing to people, but that's not what independence, that's not the definition of independence that you're using for this. You said earlier, it's about mobility and such. Give me that pitch. Do you take donations? Do you need people to refer people to your organization? Give me the pitch on how I can help, how anybody listening can help.
Yeah, the Independence Fund, we're a nonprofit, a charity for combat veterans and their caregivers. We originally focused on the catastrophic injured, multiple injuries, multiple amputees, and we want them to, the way our CEO describes it, she's like, I want to give out 20% fish, and 80% of the time I want to teach people how to fish. So we truly want the caregivers to have a quality life, even through the circumstances that they're going through. Sarah, our CEO, she wrote the book, A Hero at Home. So about her 3 daughters and what her husband, Michael, went through, 82nd Airborne, pretty significant injuries that he got. So, track chairs is for mobilities, but initially if a veteran contacts us, it starts with our casework, and we just sort of see where we can help. If the VA is saying no to them, they should be saying yes. Then our caseworkers calmly, deliberately help the veteran step through the VA process. But we want to transition not only the veteran and the family to our mobility programs. Like we have shooting, we have retreats, we have family, not only caregiver retreats, but family retreats. We have counselors. We just want to help the family have a proper homeostasis, the best quality of life. They sacrifice so much for us that we're truly in a service organization. We do take donations. We have significant donors. We have It's amazing the amount of money some people give to us. And then it's just as important for those $25 checks that come in each month. Just amazing. It's just humbling that people would give you that on a recurring basis. And so, we really are about giving the money to the constituent. We want them out doing stuff. And so we try to provide them with skills. We try to provide them with stuff. We try to provide them with just a better quality of life that they should have. And so it's just a really cool organization. And it spoke to me because as a pararescueman, I've been at the crisis scene where these significant injuries happened. And with all the medical training that I had and my guys had, you're like, man, this guy's going to need 15, 20, 30 surgeries. Wow, the family's going to go through this. We're going to have to modify the house for this family, for this guy. And what happened? And so it really spoke to me when I started interviewing with them last June as they reached out for me, and Sarah's transitioning the organization. Our growth plan is just amazing over the next 3 years. So yeah,
I'm just wondering how you get the word out and how people find you. You have all of these things, but a big problem that people, even when they're well-funded, organized, and efficient, are having the right people find you. Do you ever partner with organizations like the American Legion to get the word out to their memberships? I mean, I guess you are today. It's kind of a dumb question asking you on a show by the American Legion if you ever reach out to American Legion, but I'm just curious, and regular day-to-day activities.
Yeah, in the past they've sponsored some stuff, but I'm coming in going, man, I'd rather not sponsor stuff. I'd rather do it through social media and increase our social media presence. And then I could give more of our bottom dollar to the constituents. And so, I'm really not, from my seat as a COO, I'm not interested in sponsoring associations. I'm interested in partnering with them and helping. And we want more and more vets to apply and put applications in here, because then we could go to our donors. We have this many people in need and we need more, and this is how we're going to do it. So we want it to be an OODA loop or a snowball in the right direction. But yeah, I'm more than happy to be on podcasts like this. I can't wait to reach out to the local American Legion here in Charlotte and coordinate with them. Our social media presence is starting to get ready to get a big kick up. So we have a website, we're on Instagram, we're on LinkedIn, we're on Facebook, and then it's word of mouth. Caregivers hear about the great treatment and service that the Independence Fund does, and then they recommend to another caregiver. All the hospitals know about the Independence Fund and what we've done. We're the military members. It's even training accidents, right? There's, a lot of this training is dangerous. Like, we're not really in a brutal war right now like we used to be. But anybody who gets significantly injured that we can help, we're going to try to help. And then if we can't, we're just like, oh, no, we can't help you. We're like, here's some other organizations that may be able to help you. And our caseworkers do a great job of not just blowing somebody off that applies. Unfortunately, you guys know there's like 1,200 VSOs out there. And unfortunately, the VA is not the best run or, serviced organization. And we got to calmly, deliberately try to help that out. And so Sarah also, her and her team also do a bunch of advocacy inside the Beltway to make sure that, if there's efficiencies that can be added to the VA or lessons learned that we've learned, we share that with them. And, we're not finger pointers. We're not political. We're apolitical. We serve all. We could care less anybody's affiliation. If you got injured and you meet our parameters of needing help, we're going to try to help that, that individual. So it's really cool to be able to do this. We're in the middle of moving offices. We started an ally program too, because of the drawdown in Afghanistan and our ally coalition partners, interpreters who had needed help and their families and the danger they were in. So we started that. We're starting a veteran justice initiative to where veterans, through no fault of their own and their injuries, and they got hooked on opioids. And then next thing you know, they're transitioning to maybe a civilian side drug. And then they had larcenies and maybe felonies, and then they can't get a job and they can't get apartments. So we're doing a veterans justice initiative to educate law enforcement and prosecutors on sort of the details that veterans go through. So Sarah is amazing. Sarah has got idea after idea after idea, and she's like Joe, and she brought in a chief of staff as well, Daniel Elkins, who he was the president and founder of the Special Operations Association of America, and I sit on his board.
I'm familiar
And
with
so,
Danny. He's a good guy.
we're attacking. We're attacking for good. We're attacking for right. We're being matter of fact about, these veterans and families need help. Treasure that donors send into us, we value that, and we're going to use it wisely. And we're going to serve these constituents the best we can. So a lot of growth happening for the Independence Fund over the next couple of years for sure.
I don't even plan, execute, and debrief lunch. It just has to kind of happen. You're making me feel really inadequate. Ashley, you got any burning questions before we let Joe get back to saving the world?
I just want to reiterate, we're going to put everything in the show notes, but tell us where our listeners can learn more about all of this. I know we mentioned the website, you mentioned a few social media channels.
Yeah, the Independence Fund. It's a nonprofit, so independencefund.org. And then anybody who reaches, even somebody trying to sell me something on LinkedIn, I just say no, thank you. I'm not one of those guys that blows people off. Usually you see the guy, the financial advisor, and you go, all right, I'll accept. And they, within 3 seconds, you're getting something like, hey, have you thought about? I usually go, hey, no, thank you, thanks for reaching out. So anybody who reaches out to me on LinkedIn, Joseph Barnard, Barnard, I will get back to. We're growing. We also have jobs. We need veterans, justice, regional people with law enforcement and military and veteran experience if they want to go out and advocate. We're doing a pilot program in North Carolina, but it'll be national. We have other states ready to give us funding so we could go out and advocate for veterans in that way. We're always growing, and we always need good people to do good things. So if people want to reach out to here and think that they want to be part of the Independence Fund, I will definitely get back with them.
That's much appreciated.
Yeah.
Well, thanks so much, Joe. And thanks for giving me the heads up. I will not try to sell you financial services on LinkedIn. And because now I know better, but thank you so much for not only bringing the military to the United States Air Force, but also for continuing to serve, and especially serving those who have served. I made a bet that I couldn't say the word serve 10 times this episode. I win. So again, thank you so much. We're going to talk about you when you're not here, and when we debrief, but you'll get to see it when you see the recording. You get to see what we said about you. We're going to do all that. Ashley and myself will be back after the break.
American values and patriotism. The American Legion advocates for upholding and defending the United States Constitution, equal justice and opportunity for everyone, and discrimination against no one, youth education, responsible citizenship, and honoring military service by observing and participating in patriotic and memorial events. We are veterans strengthening America. We are the American Legion.
All right, we are back, and we were just with Joseph Barnard. And Ashley, what are your takeaways?
So for those of you who aren't aware, Independence Fund was founded in 2007. It's committed to empowering our nation's catastrophically wounded, injured, and ill veterans to overcome physical, mental, emotional wounds incurred by the line of duty. So it was really impressive to hear how Joe was able to get into this line of work and his transition trajectory, if you will, to create, and support programs with kind of a no nonsense attitude. I can appreciate that about him. He was just like, yeah, this is how we're going to do it. This is what needs to happen. And I find that very true with a lot of my COOs, right? They're operations officers. They get stuff done. And Joe knows what needs to happen. And he encouraged everyone to be an advocate, volunteer if need be, donate, and to check out, their programs in mobility, caregiving, advocacy, casework, and operation and resiliency. And then there's, I believe, independence at home, and then family programs that they all strive to bridge the gap of unmet needs for veterans and their caregivers. So really well done. Appreciated him being on, and I hope people get check out the Independence Fund and support them.
And I love seeing somebody in the Air Force who's military. There you go. So on top of everything that you just said, I'm gonna throw that little dig in there. But now he did mention inter-service rivalries, so
He did.
I feel okay. I feel okay. Plus, he's the exception that proves the rule. All right, here we go. There's some shocking stuff coming up in my favorite part of the day, and that is pew, 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 back to the range of rapid fire. All right, photos show devastation unleashed on terror leaders by sword-carrying ninja bombs. This comes from the Military Times. Detailed reports first surfaced in 2019 of the existence of a precision warhead equipped with 6 sword-like blades that allow the missile to cut through buildings or cars with ease. The weapon had been in use for some time, reports claimed, with development dating back as far as 2011 under former President Barack Obama. It wasn't until 2019, however, that over a dozen current and former U.S. officials discussed the vicious attributes of the R9X, also known as, ready? The Flying Ginsu or Ninja Bomb, a non-explosive munition that was spawned from the widely used Hellfire missile. And I put the picture in the notes for you, Ashley. If I hope maybe Jarrett can put this on screen for our YouTube viewers. If you're not our YouTube viewers, you're going to have to go to the show notes to find the pictures on Twitter. The car looks, I don't know.
It's looking real messed up. It looks like someone like took some sci-fi grappling hook and just like tossed it into air, and it grew 5 sizes, went into the car, and just sprouted out like spores. And also,
Like,
I thought you said the flying gazoo, like from
Ginsu.
Flintstone. It's Ginzu, but I heard gazoo. Wait, correct me if I'm wrong. What was the character's name in the Flintstones? Was it Gazoo?
Holly's
Was the green little
typing. Alien. Holly's typing.
Can't-
I thought it was, yeah, it's Kazoo.
Gazoo. Yeah, I heard gazoo when you said that. See, I
Even
just
that
need a
would have
bowl
been
of Fruity
wrong because
Pebbles.
it's
Can we get that
kazoo,
endorsed?
like the instrument.
I pick it up. We were putting down. I think my grappling hook of death that literally shot into this car, which is an impressive photo nonetheless. I'm like,
And they say this
Jaws
thing
of
is
Life
so,
got nothing on this thing. This is oof.
they said it's so precise, they can get someone in the passenger seat without killing someone in the driver's seat. The idea behind this is to
Oof.
minimize collateral damage and without using explosive. But I'm like, please blow me up. Don't send the
I don't want to have
ninja
to
knight.
I don't want to have to be a survivor of that. This car accident looks terrible.
Oh gosh,
Yeah,
you
the-
can't see, even if you're on YouTube, you can't see super producer Holly, but
Even the
She's-
best of the great kazoo could not avoid such calamities.
yeah, I mean, this is impressive. It's an impressive thing. It's a scary thing. And the weird thing is, like you said before we got on here, it's a little medieval, but modern at the same time. It's the scary, wait, they say the best of both worlds. It's the scary of both worlds. All right, you ready for rapid fire number what?
Ooh, ooh, ooh.
Not ooh, 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 pew, pew, pew. Try it
pew,
again.
pew.
Are you ready for what?
I want to be like you. I want to walk like you, talk like you. What movie is that from?
I have zero idea, but
Ah,
rapid fire
Jungle
number
Book.
2.
Come on.
Pew, pew.
Pew pew.
This is about education. Application opens for spring 2023. Hope for the Warriors Military Spouse and Caregivers Scholarship. This comes from the Veteran News Report. From today, whenever that was, through September 30th, applications are being accepted for the spring 2023 semester of Hope for the Warriors Military Spouse and Caregiver Scholarship Program. It goes through some history here. We don't need to worry about it, but scholarships vary from $1,500, $2,500, and are applied towards higher education. place has to be accredited. Can't go to Jeff Daly's School of Being Awesome, although I highly recommend it. It has to be an accredited school. I saw you roll your eyes.
Oh, never. I would never roll my eyes at you, Jeff Daly.
Mhm.
You can't even get a
So
straight face.
this is for spouses and caregivers. What do we think about taking care of those two?
Scholarships are everywhere. Apply for them. This one obviously is going to be running till September 30th. And they're going to be accepted for spring 2023. Please do not self-sabotage. Get out there, apply for the scholarships for the semester. It's important. I encourage anyone and everyone to do it. Scholarships will vary from $1,500 to $2,500, as Jeff mentioned, right? Accredited universities, colleges, trade schools, unique programs, masters in social work studies, etc. But seriously, apply for scholarships. They're out there. American Legion has other scholarships. You should check out our website. You should check out your local community, look at your local posts, look at your college or university, ask what they can do to competitively, attract you to their campus and
I think for
apply.
veterans,
Apply.
for veterans, they're numerous. This one's very specific.
Oh, but there are
Does-
spouse and caregiver scholarships.
Does
Oh,
it-
yeah. Mhm. And the thing is too, you can get them degree based. There could be industry based. Like there's a lot of applications, and I find in my own previous experience, just to keep it as rapid as possible, working in higher ed, people, take themselves out of the race before it starts. And as someone who has received over $73,000 in scholarships, I tell you they're out there, and I tell you to apply. Those are my words of wisdom for the day. You're welcome.
All right. Thank you for that. And here we are for rapid fire number pew, pew, pew. That is 3. All right. The rapid fire number 3, the Global War on Terrorism Service Medal won't be handed out to everyone anymore. This is also from military.com. The Department of Defense will no longer issue the Global War on Terrorism Medal to all service members, ending a 2-decade period during which the award was given to everyone in the ranks to signify America's involvement in Iraq and Afghanistan. The medal isn't going away. It's just becoming more selective. Starting September 11th, 2022, a service member must have worked directly for a counterterrorism operation for at least 30 days to receive the award.
I have it. Okay. So are they going to finally say we're done? Like we're going to close out this 2 decades worth of war? Like when is that going to be the main point of the conversation? Like, I don't give a shit about the ribbon. Like, okay, it's a ribbon. Like, what I think the bigger issue here is the failure to acknowledge that, okay, we're ending 2 decades, and we have a global war on terrorism memorial that's had to and will be erected on the National Mall in an active period of war. So I don't know. I feel like ribbon's really not the main point of this story, but okay. Some people will get it, some people won't, but then we're still going to justify the means to the end and still be in a open active era.
Well, the medal, not the ribbon,
the medal
is the main part of this story.
Mhm.
It may not be the main part of what you care about, but on this story, they're talking about the medal that everyone got by nature of showing up. This is almost
participation ribbon.
almost, yeah. And now it's going to be to be fair, we're not completely out of any of these places. That's why the medal will still exist, but it's going to be only for people who serve directly in an operation there, because we've changed operations from a massive, all-encompassing thing to very pointed service, and those are the people that are going to get to wear it. I mean, coming from the Marine Corps, we didn't get anything. I mean, I know other branches get a medal for graduating boot camp and finishing their vegetables on their plate. I don't know it, but we're going back to earn it. I mean, I get the unifying everybody under a medal because it was a big unified thing, and I think now going back to making it more selective, which is weird because they're going to have the same medal that's selective, but there's going to be millions of people that have it. So I don't understand. Okay. The messaging is weird, and
All right. DOD.
People got paid more than me figured this out.
Yeah.
Oh.
I spent time and money on this, by the way. Like people sat in meetings deliberating on this for months.
Oh, they probably hired consultants.
Taxpayers. Oh yeah, they probably outsourced. Good point.
Guaranteed. They use some outsourcing on that. All right, so that's our show. Yeah, I don't have a shout out today. I think I shouted out during the show. I do that now. I just say names. I drop names.
Drop bombs.
Yep. You might get your name dropped one day. If you talk to us at National Convention, you say something
Yeah.
smart and you see me go, probably going to drop your name. So you're going to want to tune in. But I guess you already are if you heard me say that. Okay, Ashley, why don't you just, before I say other dumb things, why don't you take us away? I'm clearly getting delirious.
Never. All right. So don't forget to subscribe to the Tango Alpha Lima podcast on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you consume your podcasts. Share us with your friends. And if you have a guest recommendation, please go to legion.org/Tango Alpha Lima and click on the suggest a guest link. We look forward to hearing from you, the alphas.
That was so lovely. You could read a book on tape if you did just like that.
I should do voiceover and audiobook. Let me put that on my goals list for the next
Your
few months.
hashtag goals.
Yeah, hashtag goals. I have
You have to say
many
hashtag.
goals.
You have to say
know what?
hashtag. for
Final
that.
thought and shout out to me. I'm crushing it right now. Okay. I am crushing it and I am so excited.
I didn't know you were making wine. You're crushing grapes.
Heck yeah. Why not?
All right.
I like wine,
But
but you won't
Yes,
catch
you
me
do.
whining.
yes, you do. Oh, is that the act of drinking wine or is no? All right. If you're coming to National Convention, please stop by the Tango Alpha Lima booth and say hello. We're going to be hanging out near the exhibit hall. We're going to be waiting for you to chat with you. You can criticize us in person. You can do whatever you got to do. And before then, I want you to, I'm going to remind you again, start planning now for September 11th, Day of Remembrance and Service. And with that, I'm going to go ahead and declare it. We're going to call it Season 3, Episode 121. I'm going to sound like Ashley.
Mission complete.